Here's a material I've made, and now I want to save it. So to save this material, the first way to do it is to go over here to Save. Now we pick where we want to save it, and I'll save it right here. Since it's replacing this material, it's going to ask me if I really want to replace it, and I do. Now it's been saved, but only the settings have been saved. The textures, if there are any textures with the material, have not been saved with the properties of the material. So if I was to go to Open and open this up again, it looks fine on my computer, but if I was to take the same file and transfer it to another computer where the textures were not in the exact same place as it is on this computer, then it would not be able to find these textures and the material would not render right. The other way to save this material so that it will save it with the materials is to go down here to where we have a bunch of different materials, and I'll just save it in this little test folder. Now I drag it down here. It's been stored locally on this computer with the textures, but now I want to save it so I can transfer it to another computer and still have it with all the textures. Or maybe I just want to make a backup of this material with the textures. To do that, I right click, say Export. Now I pick the name I want to save it as. In this case, I'll just save it right over that same one. Now it's been saved with the textures. If we go here, press right click, import, we'll see that here it is saved with the textures, so the file size is quite a bit bigger than it was when it was saved as a material.thea file. Here it's only 71 kilobytes because it's only saving this little preview picture and the settings. So that's how to save it to export to another computer or just save it for archiving. As long as we're taking a look at the material manager, I should also point out that we can click the little magnifying glass to make the picture of the preview bigger or smaller, and we can click the text to display or get rid of the text. The text here that is stored with the material is the name of the material currently, and to change it we can go over here to General and change the name here. Now if I drag it over here, it has a new name. If I want to delete any old material, I can right click on it and press delete. The other way to rename a material that I already have stored here is to either right click it, go to rename, or middle click it. Another cool thing about Thea Render is we can save multiple materials in a single pack with the textures. To do this, select multiple materials by holding down Control and selecting them. Now right click and say Export. I'm going to export it as that name, say Save, replace it. Now if I want to import all these materials that have been saved as a single pack, I just go to a new folder where I want to import them to, import, pick the material pack, and all of them have been imported. This is a really good option to use if we want to store a bunch of like wood or stone or whatever materials that we might want to store all together in a pack very easily and share them on the internet or with our friends or just transfer them to another computer. If we also look down here, we might notice that some of these material previews might not look that great. So say we want to redo any one of these material previews, we can click on one or multiple material previews, then right click and say Automation Build Preview. It's going to ask us if we really want to rebuild the preview because When it rebuilds the preview, it might look a little worse than it does now. And that is dependent on the settings we have over here under Options. First, let's redo these previews and see what the new ones look like. Now it's done with that material, and it exports that image over here to replace this image. Now that it's done, it put it over here as well. And finally, it's rendering a preview of this material. And it replaced the material preview we had here. The material preview, how good it looks here, is dependent on the setting over here. This setting over here controls the quality of the preview. So if this is set to 0, when I right-click and click Automation Build Preview, it's going to use that quality setting to build the preview. The quality is lower, but it took less time to render, and it took that newly rendered image and stores it right here to replace this one. And this is why it asks us if we really want to rebuild the preview, because it's reminding us to check this setting over here, make sure it's not lower than the setting was originally when we built this preview. I'll just up that to 10 and rebuild it once again to make it look good. So now it looks much better than it did before. Now that we have all the materials here, we know how to store them, we know how to load them. We're wondering, where are these stored on our hard drive so Thea can use them? If we're using Microsoft Windows, it's actually in a hidden folder under Program Data. If we don't see this folder, we have to go to Organize, Folder and Search option. Then we go to View, and we have to switch this to Show Hidden Files and Folders. Then click Apply or OK, and it should show us the folders. You might also need administrator privileges to make this folder show up. After that, click on it, scroll down to Thea Render, and up into Materials. Here is where all the textures and materials are saved. So for instance, if we go to Test, here we have all the mat.thea files for all the properties of the materials, and we have all the textures for all the materials saved here to be used for Thea. So if we go back one, this is actually every single file and texture needed for every single material in Thea Render. If we just wanted to back up every single file in Thea Render, we could zip this whole thing up and save it somewhere, and that would back them all up to be used later. And then later, when we want to restore them, we can just come back to this same file, unzip them, and they will all be restored. Another maybe easier way to access this folder would be to go to Help, Open Data Folder, and this will take us to that same Thea Render folder where we can click on Materials, find all the materials, but a little bit easier. Over here under Layer, this name is for the name of the layer, not the name of the material. You have to go up here to General to give the name for the material. Now that we know how to load other people's materials and save them, we might want to share those materials or download other materials that other people have shared. To do that, go to the Thea Render website under Forum. Now scroll down to Materials and Textures. All these materials and textures are freely shared by all these different people. In the future, there will be a material repository for Thea Render, so look forward to that. And that's basically how to load and save materials and find other people's materials and load them up. So I hope you have fun with that, and I'll see you in the next section.